Here's what's coming up on your horizon. Well, here's a thought. How do you become more innovative when it comes to innovation? Today, we'll meet a variety of people that where others may see needs, they see opportunity. We begin with the question, can creativity be forgotten and then rekindled? We'll meet the Oklahoma wheat breeder who, through innovation, helps ensure America's heartland remains the breadbasket of the world. Courtney May takes us to Bartlesville, Oklahoma to look at some new and innovative classrooms. We introduce you to an Oklahoma rancher who lives by a simple rule. And we'll see how one Oklahoman and his wife had to think little to get big. Stay with us for Oklahoma Horizon.
Oklahoma Horizon is made possible by Career Tech, a job for every Oklahoman and a workforce for every company. With additional support from the Oklahoma Department of Agriculture, Food, and Forestry.
Hello everyone, thanks for joining us here on Horizon. I'm Rob McClendon. Well, it may be true that there is no I in team, but if you actually look at the word, there is an M and an E. Too often, we check our individuality at the office door to everyone's detriment. Creative minds are essential to success in nearly every facet of our life, including the workplace. But it is in our jobs where we're often the most cautious, and that reluctance to share who you are and what you think may well be a trait we learned well before that first job. Here to explain is our Blaine Singletary.
The great artist Pablo Picasso once said, "All children are artists. The problem is how to remain an artist once we grow up." More and more experts are saying creativity is an essential in everyone's life, regardless of your occupation. While fostering imagination in children is important, the people we spoke to said it's never too late to regain that creative spark. Here at the Wondertorium in Stillwater, it's playtime. And here, fun is taken very seriously.
When kids play, they're doing their most significant work. Montessori said that play is child's work, and they're absolutely right.
He says play has been unfairly undermined by society because many people just don't realize what's going on in kids' brains during playtime.
Because when that child is playing, they're not killing time, they're making the most out of their time. And the majority of what a child will learn between the ages of about 0 and 8, they learn through play. They're not just playing, they're building their brains, they're learning about the world around them, they're emotionally invested, they're learning what's important to them, what's important to people around them. That's why play is such an efficient and inclusive model for kids to learn through.
While child's play may seem chaotic and lacking purpose, rest assured a purpose is there. Moore says it's all in the process, not so much the end result.
For example, when a kid gives you a finger painting, it doesn't look like any representative object. But what that child is giving you is a representation of a process. They felt the paint with their fingers. They moved it around on the page. They were thinking about something at the beginning. They were thinking about something different at the end. They're saying, I did this thing, not I completed this thing. I did this from beginning to end. And that's the absolute important part of play.
Children create and do things because they enjoy the act of creating and doing. And that enjoyment can seem to fade away as we grow up. But it's still there. And author David Goldstein says we just have to know where to look for it.
There's a misconception that a lot of people don't think themselves as creative. In fact, there was a recent study that showed only 1 in 4 people think they're living up to their creative potential. But in fact, we all can be.
If you ask 10 preschoolers to draw you a picture, you'll probably get 10 pictures. But ask a group of college students or adults, and you likely won't get as enthusiastic a response. Goldstein says it's not the creativity we're losing as we age, it's our confidence in it.
A lot of us are discouraged away from creativity at a very young age. And it's often because the teacher tells you how they're creative, and they show you how they're creative, but it might not be how we're creative.
It's a lot like the teacher in that classic song by the late Harry Chapin, flowers are red. With teachers only teaching one way of doing something, a growing student's creativity can gradually be stifled. Enter author and consultant Scott Brandon, who says it shouldn't be this way, and creativity should be an integral part of the classroom.
First and foremost, it's who we are. As people, we're imaginative and creative beings. We were born that way. It's part of our DNA. It's part of our emotional, psychological makeup. But we also need to understand it because we live in an age where we have to keep trying to solve problems, come up with new solutions, new innovations.
Scott Brandon has traveled the world preaching his message of imagination, creativity, and innovation, or ICI. He views it as a continuum, because in order to make something innovative, you have to circle back to imagination and creativity.
But those terms are not arts-based terms, they're workforce-based terms, they're human terms. Think of artists and philosophers and mathematicians and technology people. They're all imaginative and creative, but also cab drivers, chefs, and everybody can be and should have the opportunity to be imaginative and creative.
So how do we reignite that creative, imaginative spark within all of us? Again, David Goldstein.
The first step is to know ourselves. A second step, I believe, is to go back to what you love to do as a child. All of us love to do things. Every student in my son's preschool was creative, and they were creative storytellers, actors, they built things with blocks.
But it's never too late to start viewing our daily routine creatively. And the sooner we do, the sooner we all can enrich our world.
What I think we need to do is expand the pie of people who see themselves as creative. We rely on other people to be creative, the lone inventor or the inventors in the R&D lab, but we're all creative and we all can be. And if more people in our country see themselves as creative, then we could have more output. I'd like to just increase the size of the top of the funnel, and I think this could help everyone.
Scott Brandon also told us that it's important for everyone to be creative because we don't know where the next great innovation is going to come from.
Thank you, Blaine. Now, when we return, we look at some new innovative work on a very old crop.
You're watching Oklahoma Horizon with Rob McClendon. Weekly insight into your changing world.
Well, it's that time of year again when wheat combines are rolling through farmers' fields. This year's harvest looks to be a good one, thanks to some favorable growing conditions. Yet for our country to remain the breadbasket of the world, it's going to take more than just Mother Nature's cooperation. Today, we continue with the innovative work of an Oklahoman to develop wheat varieties that are as tough as they are productive. It's a challenging proposition, but one that's music to the ears of OSU's Brett Carver. If wheat is the staff of life, then Brett Carver is its shepherd.
I'm a wheat breeder, and what that means is I try to make wheat better. I try to do it by taking the genetics that's in the plant and tweaking it a little bit. Taking the best genetic pieces and putting them together. We call that a variety, and I call a variety a stimulus package. It's something that stimulates the economy, it stimulates a farmer's profitability, stimulates a lot of things that make our economies grow.
Planted since the time of the pharaohs, it's a basic food that can be found in virtually every society.
It is truly the plant of the world. And in fact, it's what got our civilization started. And we still depend on it today, despite some who might demonize it and say, we shouldn't. And I think as wheat goes in the future, I think we will go. It's that important in our diet and our civilization.
And for Carver, unlocking the mysteries of this ancient grain is just as much a passion as is his music.
I've always had a musical desire, just growing up. It was either going to be science or it was going to be music. And I decided at a pretty young age, well, it's going to be science. but that doesn't mean you have to drop everything else. And so I've kind of kept the music alive and enjoyed that opportunity to go get away. You know, that's my release. Your mind goes off into another area, another stratosphere, you know, if you're really connected to that music. My math ability was improved by learning music. There really is a math component to music, breaking things down according to meter and time and rhythm, and there is a mathematical component that I think crosses over. And science really does draw upon mathematical ability.
A connection Carver calls upon inside these research greenhouses.
Looking back, I say, oh my gosh, yeah, this is where some of that math really came into play, literally play. And every chance I get, I like to incorporate, you know, music into what we do here in terms of how we name varieties. The most recent is Stardust. That goes strictly back to a very, very popular American song written in 1927. The composer, Hoagy Carmichael, one of the most widely recorded songs in America. That song in and of itself is a symbol of versatility. When you can take a song and record it 1,500 different times, 1,500 different recordings, that tells me that that song has a lot of versatility. And that is exactly the way we need to look at white wheat.
Because just like its name, Stardust mills much wider, like the stars in the sky.
White wheat gives us some versatility in the marketplace that we haven't yet taken advantage of from our crop here in Oklahoma, and I hope that's a big part of our future.
And on that note, another wheat harvest is underway. Now this spring, Carver was honored at the state capitol with Governor Fallon's Outstanding Public Service Award in Agriculture.
Still to come on Oklahoma Horizon, a rule to live by. But first, Oklahoma's innovative classrooms.
Well, innovation requires independent thinking and the ability to work outside the comforts of predictability and security. And that's a challenging proposition, not only in the workplace, but also in the classroom. Joining me now is our Courtney May.
Bartlesville, Oklahoma's largest employer, is investing in the future of their workforce by creating new styles of learning. Phillips 66 donated $1.7 million to Bartlesville High School for innovation labs in an effort to expand science, technology, engineering, and math education. When it comes to STEM education, Bartlesville High School can rival any school in the nation, thanks to a generous contribution from the area's largest employer, Phillips 66.
We're putting in laboratories, hands-on laboratories that will have everything from computers to hard equipment to build things so they can actually get some hands-on experience as engineers and chemists.
Merle Lindstrom is the Vice President of Technology for Phillips 66, and he says building these STEM labs gets students interested in pursuing a career in a STEM field.
It's investment in the future, right? You have to do it for a company like ours. It's so technology driven and so focused on engineering. We hire hundreds of engineers every year.
State School Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister toured the Bartlesville High School Innovation Labs during a press conference and showcase event held by Phillips 66. And she says the training these students are receiving is setting the tone for high school STEM education.
This is a great step forward in giving them the opportunity to do something that perhaps other kids outside of this area haven't had an opportunity to see modeled in front of them.
Students take research-based hands-on courses such as Introduction to Engineering and Design, Exploring Computer Science, and Advanced Math Applications through which scientists with Phillips 66 can mentor students. LaDonna Chancellor is the principal at Bartlesville High School.
It helps kids discover new ideas that they hadn't even thought about before, new paths for college, new paths for career down the road that maybe they hadn't even thought of before.
And this is all by design from Phillips 66 itself. CEO Greg Garland says the company has taken on education as a primary focus.
We've taken on literacy as a primary effort as our company, just nationwide, and we want to impact the local communities where we live and operate. We have nearly 2,000 employees here in Bartlesville, and so we want to make sure that Bartlesville is a strong place. We want to be able to recruit people to Bartlesville, a great place to raise a family, a great place to work, and education is a key part of that.
Now in the city of Bartlesville, the innovative renovations do not end at the high school. Just down the road at Tri-County Technology Center, students are experiencing classroom makeovers like they've never seen before. The School of Business and Entrepreneurship at Tri-County Technology Center has a new look, and the design is to stimulate student success. This 10,000 square foot renovation is changing the way students learn.
The teacher's in the center of the room. There's no more back of the row, there's no more back rows, so kids can't come in and hide in the back row and not be engaged and participate. Teacher stands in the center and they're all around, so it gives the teacher more visual lines with everyone, and then students can also interact better that way, and you get more participation, more engagement, better grades, higher completion rates.
And this is all backed by research from the furniture and design company Steelcase. Steelcase uses vibrant colors and comfortable furniture to engage the students, like Richard Candelaria, who says the environment allows group learning to thrive.
I go to high school and we sit at a desk for about an hour, and this one we can move around, we can talk to each other better, and then when it's Miss Miller's time, we listen to her, and then we go back into our own time and we work together. And if it's by ourselves, we work by ourselves. And like our project that we're doing now is that we work by ourselves, but we can still talk to each other. It's more open.
Superintendent of Tri-County Technology Center, Lyndall Fields, says changing the style of learning sparks creativity in the students.
Things as simple as magnetic walls that you can write on. You know, it used to be a chalkboard and then a whiteboard. Now, magnetic walls that the kids can use, they can write on, and we don't have to worry about them hurting anything. We can let them be creative and let them be messy, because we can take it back to the original form at the end of the day.
And Tri-County Technology Center is dedicated to constantly improving. These renovations are only the start of a master makeover.
We did a master plan, and it's going to take about 7 to 9 years to complete that, all phases of that master plan. So that's doing pretty much kind of one project a year.
Students at Tri-County Tech say the vibrant, colorful environment makes learning fun, and the classroom setup encourages teamwork.
All right. Thank you so much, Courtney.
You're welcome, Rob.
Horizon is at your fingertips. Join us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube to catch the segments you may have missed and our latest new content as it happens.
Well, a skilled photojournalist once told me the key to his success was not just being at the right place at the right time, but being at a place or even an angle where no one else was. Which brings us to our next story, and the Oklahoma rancher who says he lives by one simple rule. Meet Ralph Passo, Oklahoma camel rancher.
My whole deal is do not get in a line. Everything I do, if I walk up and I go to get lunch, if there's a line, I figure a way to get out of the line, because you'll never be first when you're in the line. So if you got camels, there ain't nobody in that line. Everybody's in cows or something else, and it's just a good policy for life. Don't get in the line. We used to raise goats, and goats were a perfect thing. We raised Angora goats, and we at one time had like 1,000 head, but the coyotes really liked them.
So camels proved a bit tougher, even in our wild weather.
The camels, they can take the snow, they can take the cold weather, the hot weather.
But even the toughest animals need a little tender care. And that's where Ralph's wife, Winona, comes in.
When we have the babies, it's usually from the end of December till the end of April when we have the biggest share of our babies. Within about an hour, we'll try to give them a bottle. I try to keep the milk frozen so we'll have it at times when we need it. And then you help them to get up and get their legs strong enough that they can stand. And then when the mother's ready for them to be with them, then you can integrate them in with the mother.
And it's that mother's milk Ralph is after.
They did a bunch of studies, and it's awful good for Alzheimer's, diabetes, autism. It's just a mighty, mighty powerful stuff, really.
And extremely profitable.
Now the milk is going for $160 a gallon. Very profitable business.
Making money and making friends.
Nice animal to be around.
While never standing in a line.
Want to see more stories like this? All our segments are streaming on our YouTube channel at Oklahoma Horizon TV.
In 2002, when Oklahoman Charles Nelson and his wife Candace bid farewell to their six-figure investment banking salaries, some may have called them crazy when they decided to start a cupcake business out of their kitchen. Today, the two are founders of the Los Angeles-based cupcake chain Sprinkles. Using the best ingredients and baked fresh throughout the day, Sprinkles has grown from a single storefront in Beverly Hills to 20 locations nationwide and a traveling Sprinkles mobile cupcake truck.
It was built by Pimp My Ride.
With long lines of devoted fans, including many celebrities, Sprinkles has also made a celebrity out of Candace Nelson, with her being a frequent guest and celebrity chef on shows around the TV dial.
Contestant who is flying through to the next round.
A busy life that they took a break from to sit down with me to talk about innovation.
Out of college, I went into investment banking and then an internet startup. Well, then the dot-com bust happened and I was without a job. And so I just really looked inward and thought, what is it that I really want to do with my life? I love to bake, and I figured, what the heck, I'll give it a try. Didn't think I could really make a living doing it, but I decided to go to pastry school and give it a shot.
When you're starting something from scratch, especially something where no one's ever done it before, if you want to try to do it 8 hours a day, you're not going to make it. It's about giving all you have every hour that you have available. And so when it's something you're passionate about, Candace was passionate about baking. I love dessert, so that made it easy for me. And so it really, we're working all the time. We're talking about work all the time, but it doesn't feel like work because we love it.
So how does one keep up their creativity to run a business like Sprinkles when you are working all the time?
It becomes a lot easier if you love it, because instead of feeling like you're, going uphill, you're sort of rolling downhill. And, besides that, we really try to stay open. We stay open to ideas. We brainstorm constantly, at work, at home, and we brainstorm, with our amazing employees and with our customers. We try to keep our lines of communication open through social media and in the store and at the office.
I think it really is about staying on top, and that is about creativity and continuing to be creative. Our first idea was creative to start Sprinkles, and then moving on to our cupcake ATM and other things. So you have to continue to innovate and keep creativity in your business, because people are going to do copy what you do pretty quickly, and so you can't just rest your laurels on one idea. It really is open lines of communications. If you think that every great idea comes from the founder, we wouldn't be very far. We have so many great ideas that come from our employees and our customers. That's really what's made our company special over the last 9 years.
Yeah, well, a final question, it may be that it's getting close to lunch, but what is some of your most popular cupcakes that you sell?
Well, I'll take this one because red velvet is hands down our most popular flavor. And I have to say, not growing up in Oklahoma, I didn't really have a lot of history with red velvet. And the red velvets I'd had, I didn't love so much. So when I was developing the menu for Sprinkles, red velvet was not on the menu. And Charles said, I'm just going to be laughed all the way back home if I don't have red velvet on the cupcake menu. That is just part of growing up in Oklahoma, and you have to have that. So I thought, all right, I'll make a red velvet that I can live with. So I amped up the cocoa and made a really special butter and cream cheese frosting. And thank goodness I did, because that Ode to Oklahoma has been our #1 selling flavor at every store.
Now, if you'd like to see my full interview with Charles Nelson and his wife Candace, I have that streaming on our website at okhorizon.com. Next time on Oklahoma Horizon, we look at the serious issue of homelessness in young people.
They're often kind of a hidden population. They're couch surfing, they're staying with friends. Some of them are on the streets, not all of them, and so it's a very elusive population to find.
Helping the homeless with a job on Oklahoma's Show for the Heartland, Oklahoma Horizon. Thanks for including us as part of your day. I'm Rob McClendon. Hope to see you back here